We are here with Mike Jones, the man instrumental in the ousting of Reverend Ted Haggard from his homophobic spewing pulpit. Mike has written a book. I had to say something. So, tell us about the book.
Well, the reason I wrote the book is a few reasons. One is I wanted people to get to know who Mike Jones is, because people saw the headlines, and the headlines were prostitute drug dealer brings down evangelical preacher, and it's much more than that. And the other thing I want people to know is what I went through in my decision. I did not wake up one morning and say, gee, I'm going to out Ted Haggard. It wasn't quite that easy. I tormented myself for months over the information that I had. But the bigger issue of the book is if the church at some point doesn't deal with this issue, we're just going to have 100 more Ted Haggards down the road, and that's going to be a shame.
So Ted, or Art, as you knew him, Art, hired you for like 3 years at $200 a session, right?
Right. For 2.5, 3 years total, yes. I did not know who he was for 2.5 years. That's correct.
And then you're very descriptive about your sessions with him. Why did you decide to be so graphic in telling what you did?
Well, first of all, you have to remember Ted Haggard admitted to being with me once. He said he got a referral at a hotel for a massage, bought drugs, and threw him away. Well, let me just tell you, first of all, no hotel concierge would have referred me. And I can't imagine Ted Haggard going down to the concierge saying, can you give me a gay hooker where I can get drugs at, So that isn't even plausible. And the second thing is, I wanted people, this is my story. Ted Haggard saw me more than just once. He saw me for 3 years. And I'm not trying to be mean to him, but this is what this man wanted to experiment with. This is what this man felt. He needed to be with a man. And he hired me for those services, and I was providing them. The reason I didn't like to be called a prostitute was because I had men crying in my arms. I had men literally dying in my arms. It was much more than just sex. But Ted Haggard clearly answered an escorting ad, and that's what he wanted.
Your great-grandmother, Grace, was a madam, right?
She was, and my friends have always teased me and said, you kept it in the family. So, yeah, she was in an old mining town in Colorado, Central City, where she was born and raised. So, I have a little bit of history in it.
You started bodybuilding around 14, 13?
That's correct. When I was a young teenager, I got involved in it. And then I heard, my first time I went to a gay bar, I was underage, but I got a fake ID at 18. And lo and behold, people were hitting me on and paying me for sex because of my body. That just kind of shocked me at such an early age that that's really what they were after. And
did it, how did you feel being approached for let's do it for money?
Yeah, I was like, wow, I was going to give it away free, but they want to pay for it. I was flattered because I had a pretty low self-esteem because of the violence that I grew up with my brother. I didn't like myself too well. So it was pretty neat that people were actually paying attention to me, and plus willing to pay for it. I did. And people have to understand, too, that I didn't escort all my life full time. I've had other jobs. I've had a corporate job. I had my own gym. I've had a greeting card shop, in a bar. I've done other things, too. But I've always kept the escorting part up because, it was good money. I mean, just to be honest.
Reading in your book, it seems like you had a lot of second guessing, or you're very hesitant in doing the revelation of Haggard.
Well, you have to understand, my mother had just passed on. She was my best friend. I was in deep, deep depression. And then, a couple months later, the Haggard thing fell on my lap. And I was really going, oh my gosh, now what do I do with this information? Because once I found out who he was by accident, by watching TV, once I found out who he was and did some research on him, I just go, this guy is huge, and this is wrong, what he is doing, because he was one of the biggest anti-gay marriage, foes out there. He was actively campaigning against that. He was saying things like comparing a gay pride parade to a Murderers Day parade. He was saying, if you're gay, you're not going to see the kingdom of God. Those things hurt. And it tore me apart because I knew he was married. I knew he had children. And it just made me physically ill thinking of those things. But ultimately, the hypocrisy was so great You know, he was leading 30 million people. That I couldn't take it anymore, and hence the title of the book, I Had to Say Something. To it. And personally, what I thought was going to happen was Haggard would admit it, cry, ask for forgiveness,
Right.
and continue like Jimmy Schweigert did. Mm-hmm. Did I know he was going to... The first time I heard him say, I don't know who Mike Jones is. And during that same interview, he was going, now what's that guy's name again? Mike. I'm going, you asshole. That's the easy part. I can prove you know me. And then, of course, then he starts making up lies. And then he finally got nailed and said, oh, that's right. I did get a referral at a hotel for him for a massage. And he sold me drugs, too. And I'm like, can you imagine Ted Haggard going up to a concierge at a hotel? Yeah, can you give me a gay hooker that has methamphetamines? Hey, please. So, yeah, he lied so bad and he got caught in his lies. And that's sad. Because, you know, I think he missed a golden opportunity. I think if he would have admitted it, and what I would have thought would have been nice is work with the gay community, you know? Work with us, work with the church, somehow connect it, you know what I mean? I think he missed a golden opportunity to make a positive out of a negative, and he did not do that, which is sad. So therefore, now he's in hiding. You know, basically, he signed an agreement with the church saying, I will leave Colorado and not speak publicly about the scandal for a year, and that's where we stand. But if people think Ted Haggard is gone, he's not. He's going to be back. He's not the type of guy that can just be silent the rest of his life. Yeah, so... so this story is actually going to go on for years, believe it or not.
Come back as Tammy Faye.
There you go, reincarnation.
When you went to tell the news people, you had you had a letter, you had an envelope that he gave you with money, and you had a couple emails?
No, they were voicemails.
Voicemails?
Yes, with his voice. Not that I taped his voice. He left those on his own, those voicemails. That clearly was a smoking gun. Mm-hmm. Or as one of the newspapers put it, no smoking penis, but that was the smoking tape.
Since the revelation or the expose, I believe you said you've lost a lot of your massage and training clients.
I lost all of them.
Okay.
I mean, when I exposed Ted Haggard, I exposed myself. I risked getting arrested. I had death threats. I lost all my massage clients. I lost all my personal training clients. And I modeled for art schools, and they all fired me. So I lost everything. But it's been a really interesting journey. The story is only 8 months old, and I've been through a lot. The saddest part for me is the gay community, for them, a major part, turned their backs on me. And that's hurt. And I thought we were a little bit more cohesive than that, but apparently not. I think there's a lot of division within our own community, a lot of prejudice, a lot of judgments, and it's sad. I stuck my neck out that I thought for the community, and I thought I would receive a little bit more support, but it hasn't happened.
Mike, that's the perfect cue for me to come give you this award.
Oh.
Shall we do that? I would really like to do
Thank
that.
you.
Because that's the perfect time.
Well, thank you.
Let me just say a couple quick things.
Sure.
My name is Chris Freeman. I'm on the trust of the Manette Horwitz Trust. We wanted to recognize the sacrifice that you made for the bigger issue and for bringing out that hypocrisy that you did expose. And the title of your book, I Had to Say Something, really says all of it, I think. This is social change in action. This is one person making a difference. And this is you bringing a kind of courage that we wanted to acknowledge. So let me give you the award and a check for $1,000. So thank you so much. So this is for you. And there's a letter and 2 checks in there, so handle it with you.
National Gay and Lesbian Task Force.
Oh, well, since then, though, a couple. The Gay and Lesbian Task Force of New York City honored me. They flew me out, and I spoke at one of their functions. Then the Harvey Milk Foundation, I got the Harvey Milk Lifetime Achievement Award in May. That meant a lot to me because it's like finally somebody gets it, right? Somebody got it, and that was very nice, and I really appreciate that.
So what are you doing for a living now?
Well, I'm on this book tour right now, and you have to understand the story is only 8 months old.
Right.
I've been through a lot in 8 months, and I wrote the book in 3 months. So my life has been pretty intense with the Ted Haggard story. So I'm doing the book tour now, and I'm trying to decide what I'd like to do afterwards. I'm trying to see what doors may open up. But one of the things that's kind of crossing my mind a little bit is when I've talked to younger gay people, and like I mentioned the Harvey Milk Award, they go, Harvey who? And I'm thinking, you know what I'm finding out is they don't know about gay history. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice to organize something and maybe travel around the country giving these workshops and teaching some of the younger gay people what other people have went through so they can enjoy what they're enjoying today.
I don't think in the book you mentioned you had a partner at all, or maybe you had a boyfriend in the very beginning.
Yeah, I've pretty much been single for about 17 years, and I'm looking.
Okay. Were you in danger of any criminal charges or procedures?
Well, I was. I mean, that's one of the risks I took coming forward because, prostitution is illegal, or escorting or paid sex, for money is. And, as far as the drugs go, I did hook them up with someone for the methamphetamines, so they could kind of come after me for that too. Yes, the police did knock on my door, but nothing has went forward on that. What I find interesting is I think they might be a little bit hesitant. I think they need a little bit more actual proof, really witness something. And the second thing is I saw a lot of politicians, a lot of people in the community, pro athletes. I think they know maybe just to leave well enough alone, because I could spill the beans on a lot of people if I wanted to. That's not what I'm in. That's not my thing. But I could if I wanted to. So I think they've pretty much left it alone.
So basically, the only proof that you're an escort is your word.
Yeah, I mean, they could read my book and say this is an admission of guilt, but I don't think they want to go after me. I really think they want to leave it alone. Another kind of a neat thing that's happened along the line was there was an HBO movie out a while back. It was called Friends of God, and Alexandra Pelosi made that film, and that's Nancy Pelosi's daughter. And she had finished that show right before the Haggard scandal broke, and she was like all in a tizzy, like, oh my God, I spent all this time with Ted Haggard, and now it's all for naught. And so she had to go back in and do a disclaimer. And of course, in my book I wrote about it, I go, well, she should be thanking me for getting her more publicity, to watch it. So when I was in New York opening my book tour, she saw me being advertised at Barnes & Noble, and she tracked me down and got a hold of me. And so I spent half a day with her, and it was very interesting. And then I also thought, cool, I got to end with Nancy Pelosi. How much fun is that? Well, I don't think God is looking down, judging us on those issues. I think we're all humans, and we're all offering something. For heaven's sakes, I wasn't a mass murderer. I was actually bringing comfort to a lot of people. I mean, I had men dying of AIDS in my arms. I had men dying of leukemia. A lot of reasons they were in my arms. I don't think God would punish me for helping these men out. I've always been spiritual. I pray. I can't always say I know who I'm praying to. I'm kind of praying to the universe. Mm-hmm. But I am a spiritual by nature. This is Mike Jones, and this is Real Gay.